Before the fame, before Barcelona, before millions knew his name, he was just a kid playing football in the streets of Rocafonda. Let's take a dive and explore this legend.
Long before the football world called him a superstar, Lamine Yamal was just a kid growing up in Rocafonda, a humble neighborhood near Barcelona. The streets were loud, the apartments were small, and football was everywhere. Kids played for fun, for pride, and sometimes just to escape reality for a few hours. But even among all those talented street players, people started noticing something different about Lamine. He wasn't just good, he played like the ball was listening to him. Lamine's story is bigger than football. His father is Moroccan, his mother is from Equatorial Guinea, and his journey represents thousands of immigrant families chasing better opportunities for their children. Behind every dribble, every goal, and every celebration is years of sacrifice from people who believed in his dream long before the cameras arrived. That's part of why fans connect with him so deeply. His story feels real. Before the world knew the name Lamine Yamal, before giant stadiums screamed for him, there was just a baby sitting in a bathtub during a charity photo shoot. And holding that baby was none other than Lionel Messi. At the time, it was just a random picture. But years later, football fans would look at that image like it was the beginning of a prophecy. Nobody in that room could have imagined what would happen next. The tiny baby splashing water and laughing at Messi would grow up to become one of the most exciting football talents the world had ever seen. It almost sounds too perfect to be real, like football itself wrote the script. Lamine didn't grow up surrounded by luxury cars or giant football academies. He grew up in Rocafonda, a humble neighborhood where football wasn't entertainment, it was part of everyday life. The streets were small, the dreams were big, and somewhere in between, a future superstar was quietly being created. Most kids his age were trying to avoid homework or figure out what video game to play next. Meanwhile, Lamine was out here dribbling past older kids like they owed him money. And the scary part? He made it look easy. Almost disrespectfully easy. When scouts from Barcelona's famous La Masia Academy first watched him play, they instantly knew they were looking at something different. You know that moment in movies when everybody suddenly goes silent because they've witnessed something special? Yeah, it was probably one of those moments. At an age where most teenagers still panic when speaking in class, Lamine was casually humiliating defenders in one of the biggest football academies on earth. Confidence like that can't really be taught. Some players learn football, others were born for it. Then came the moment every young Barcelona player dreams about, stepping onto the pitch for the first team. Tens of thousands of fans, cameras everywhere, pressure from the entire football world. But somehow, Lamine looked calmer than a man ordering lunch at a restaurant. Some footballers slowly introduced themselves to the world. Lamine. He arrived like he already owned the place. The confidence, the swagger, the fearless dribbling. Defenders probably needed therapy after some of those matches. Every time he touched the ball, something dangerous felt possible. Fans leaned forward in their seats. Defenders backed away nervously. And commentators started running out of words to describe what this teenager was doing on a football pitch. Then social media completely lost its mind. Clips of Lamine's skills spread everywhere, millions of fans all asking the exact same question, wait, this kid is how old? Football fans love wonder kids, but this felt different. This felt historic. But fame moves fast. One minute you're joking with friends after school, the next minute, football fans across the planet expect you to become Barcelona's savior. That kind of pressure can destroy careers before they even begin. That's the strange thing about talent. The brighter your spotlight becomes, the heavier everything feels. Every mistake becomes a headline, every bad game becomes a debate, and suddenly a teenager is carrying expectations bigger than most adults could handle. People started calling him the next Messi. Sounds amazing, right? Except there's one problem. Football has spent years trying to find another Messi, and it never really works. Those comparisons can turn young stars into prisoners of impossible expectations. But Lamine has something special that statistics can't measure. he still plays with joy. You can see it in the way he dribbles, the way he smiles, even the way he celebrates. It looks less like pressure and more like a kid still having the time of his life. Even inside giant stadiums filled with screaming fans, you can still see the street football kid inside him. The creativity, the freedom, the confidence to try impossible things just because they might work. Every generation waits for a player who makes football feel magical again. Someone who can make millions of people jump out of their seats at the exact same moment. And somehow that player turned out to be a teenager from Rocafonda. His story isn't just about football talent. It's about family, sacrifice, pressure, dreams, and believing in yourself before the rest of the world finally catches up. That's what makes stories like this unforgettable. Maybe that famous photo with Messi really was just coincidence. Or maybe football was quietly introducing one generation to the next without anybody realizing it at the time. Because before the headlines, before the fame, before millions of fans screamed his name, Lamine Yamal was simply a kid with a football, a dream, and absolutely no permission to be this ridiculously good at the game.